Anyway, let's move on to the final topic of the day.
Our big one.
This is the topic of the day, so let's roll the music, Tim.
Okay, hooray. It's time for the topic of the day. Beep, beep, I forget how the music. Oh, hey, hooray. It's time for the topic of the day. Ring.
Yeah.
It doesn't, that's not how the sound sounded at all. So,
That's 2 days. That's 2 episodes in a row where you sang this music
Yeah.
after we played the music.
right.
Like, do you think that people get that deja vu, or do you think that the
I
produced
think,
music
I
sounds
think
better?
people are clamoring to not just hear me do it taped, but to also do it live. Because I am a professional.
You should sing it live.
Yeah.
You should do it live on
We should
Sunday.
record like a full album of all our jingles. It'll be like the dogs barking at
All
the
two of
Christmas
them?
carols or whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, so enough silliness, because these are all topics that we take a little bit more seriously. So
The topic of the day is a little bit more serious.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, Pastor Danny, who's a good friend of ours, he did a show.
Oh, he's a good friend of mine.
He did.
He says he's iffy on your friendship right now.
That hurts.
Well,
That hurts.
he says you're working on it.
Working on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we're not going to touch on that.
Hey, did you notice I'm not coughing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm better now.
Good job.
Yeah.
So Pastor Danny did a message where he talked about mental assent versus actual change, actual faith. And that was 2 weeks ago. This past Sunday, Pastor Zach did a message where he kind of elaborated on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But this idea that it kind of came to me about what is just, hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Versus actually making changes for the best. And I'm going to premise this with a message series that I'll always remember from like 15 years ago. And that's when Pastor Leon, who's now passed, he did a message. It was called the Blueprint Message.
Okay.
And what he said was everything in your life that you learn till now is learned behavior that is stuck in your subconscious. You don't think about it every day. So you use the example of when you have an idea of what a marriage is between a man and a wife, based on your parents, based on what you've been taught as a child, and it's kind of stuck in your subconscious. So that when you're dating, you might have a certain reaction to things, and this is how you behave.
Yeah.
But the second you get married, that blueprint all of a sudden snaps into place and you react to it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I was thinking of based on this topic. Also thinking about, I think social science will say that we learn pretty much all our behaviors by the age of like 8 or 10. Our personality, our behavior is entrenched. So someone who is, 20, 30, 40 years old is built, all of this stuff is built into them.
So I like what Pastor Leon used to say. How do you say it? He would say something like something about your BS
belief systems. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he would always call it BS.
Yeah.
Right. You have to work on your BS.
Yeah.
And it was your belief system.
Yeah.
And your belief system is what's entrenched in you when you're young.
Yeah.
And when you're young, it's easier to impress on people what your belief systems are, and as you get older it's harder to change those habits or harder to change those beliefs.
Right. So so the idea for me, and I've often thought about what is hopeful thinking versus actual change, and I sent you the clip from It's a Wonderful Life where he just repeats the phrase hot diggity dog, I get $1 million or whatever.
We'll check it out here.
Wish I had $1 million. Hot dog.
And I thought it was interesting because sometimes we say these little phrases that we don't actually believe.
That's correct.
And it's wishful thinking. I wish I have $1 million, and go play the lottery, and it's just a wish, right? We're not actually doing anything to change. And the idea being, how does one person that has, and I've often thought about this too in life, why does one person that has the exact same situation scenario where everything has kind of been, or negative situation, and they're happy, and they become, the president of the United States or whatever, and another person with the exact same situation, it lives in a gutter, down the street.
Yeah.
Why are people's reactions the way they are, which has always fascinated me. But yeah, like this is kind of the idea of the topic, and I'd be interested to see your point of view in that. But it's just something that's always intrigued me. And when we heard the messages, um, we were talking about, when I think Danny used the example, people 60% of the people that buy books, he used the example,
Yeah.
just feel better that they buy the book and they don't actually read a book.
Yeah.
I started realizing I'm really good, and maybe some of you guys can identify with this, I'm really good at mental assent instead of renewing my mind. Let me kind of explain that. And you don't have to raise your hand and admit this, but they say 40 to 50% of books bought are never read. Mental assent. Well, I bought the book. I bought it. How many people buy something and they're like, you know what? This year, I am going to learn how to play the keyboard. So they go out and they buy a keyboard and they never play it. Mental assent.
Right? So
You actually get smarter by just buying a book.
Or
That's
you
what I
think-
was told.
or you think you get smarter.
I got some books here that made me smarter.
By the way, Malcolm Gladwell, I saw that. I heard him speak at one of the events that we were at.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in Chicago at
Okay.
the summit in Willow Creek a couple years ago. Really good.
Yeah.
Fantastic speaker. But yeah, like those are some of the things that kind of pop around in my head when we talk about this.
The one thing that popped into my head when I heard Danny's message was he was talking about how somebody who gets a silver medal in the Olympics is upset about getting a silver medal in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then somebody who gets the bronze medal in the Olympics in team sports are generally excited that they got a bronze medal.
Yeah.
So the difference between the two is the silver medalist lost the game and the bronze medalist won the game. And I liken it to a hockey player just recently that actually tossed his medal over top of the glass. And I think this is the second time this has happened.
Yeah.
It just happened again where the hockey player got the silver medal in the juniors and just tossed it over the glass.
Yeah.
Now, who knows who he's tossing it to, if it's a family member or a friend or what. But it just goes to show that it's all about perspective in life. The silver medalist is upset that they came second.
Yeah.
The bronze medalist is excited that they won third because they won third.
Yeah, and there's certainly a level of expectation too. Typically your bronze medalist is not the one who may be expected to win gold.
Yeah.
Whereas the gold and silver medals, especially in hockey, and there's also that slide about the women's hockey team. Well, it's going to be the Canadian or U.S. team is going to win in women's hockey because generally, and so the one that wins silver is expecting to win gold, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So expectation level, all of those things come into play. But going back to like what, when you just say something like I want to lose weight, but you never do.
Yeah.
Right. Just speaking something like a magic potion, speaking it over and over and over, but it doesn't actually get into your depths of your soul, if you want to say.
Yeah.
How do you get to a place where what you're speaking, and I'll reference the stat that I had before that I sent you, is that I think I heard a stat that the average amount of thoughts that people have per day is like 60,000.
Yeah.
And I think that
we have more.
It's just an average of 60,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
And 75% of them, it's not up there, but 75% were negative. 75 to 80% were negative thoughts.
Yeah.
And of those 60,000 thoughts, 90,000 are repetitive, which means they're not new thoughts.
90% are repetitive.
90% are repetitive.
Of the
They're over and over and over. So they're negative, they're repetitive, they're not new, they're unrenewed, if you want to use a church term.
Yep.
All of those things. So like, how do you get over that negative talk? And a lot of them subconscious, right? We don't know. It's rolling around. It affects how you react. It affects how you behave. It affects how you talk to people, interact.
So generally what people think is what they are.
Yeah.
I think, therefore I am.
Right.
Is the statement, right? And a lot of the times people are thinking, oh, I'm going to fail at this. Oh, I'm going to be late. Oh, I'm going to not get this done in time. Oh, I'm not going to hit the deadline. All these negative thoughts that are in people's, what Pastor Zach said is the stinking thinking.
Yeah.
Right? All of those things that are in your mind that are really pushing you to fail.
Yeah.
Now, if you could change that thought at the moment that it happens, where you say, oh, I'm never going to I'm going to get this done.
Yeah.
I will get this done. I have the ability. I will get it done.
Yeah.
Or if you think like, I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to be on time. Right. I'm going to get ready earlier. And, like all these different things, you've got to catch yourself.
Yeah.
You got to catch your thoughts when it happens and turn it around into a positive right away.
Right. And like, I know we come at it from a Christian perspective and specifically church and specifically in Winnipeg at Springs, but this is something that is far more than just in the spiritual aspect, right?
Exactly.
Athletes do this too.
Yep.
Entertainers do this, professionals do this, salespeople do this.
Yep.
In that you're told to visualize, like imagine you are in this place. And when you imagine, you're thinking positive thoughts, right? You're feeling that, yes, I am going to do this. Like you said, I'm going to finish this deadline.
Yep.
I'm going to get this done, but you're doing it mentally, right?
And the other thing too is if you can say it out loud, your brain will believe it more.
Right.
So when I talked to you about this podcast studio, when I said, hey, Tim, I got an idea for the podcast studio, I had been thinking about it already. And thinking about it a lot, but it didn't become real in my mind until I actually started talking to you and Lorraine about it. And by talking about it and by putting it into action and by, last week saying, come on over, check this out. I want to show you what I have in mind.
Yeah.
Once we start talking about it, it became more real.
Yeah.
And the realness became this, what we're in right now.
Yeah.
And it's like... Lorraine always talks about manifestation.
Right.
What happens when you manifest stuff, it generally happens to you.
Yeah.
And if you manifest negativity and you manifest stuff being wrong, it's going to happen. I continuously say, this podcast is going to record well. This podcast is going to look great. This show is going to be something that people are going to listen to. And I say those things out loud to myself.
Yeah.
I think that helps us
and
get better.
I think you can connect that thought with also what we talked about a few weeks ago about the improvement of 1%.
Yeah.
Like James Clear in a book we talked about a few weeks ago talks about the
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits improvement of the 1%. So going back to like a New Year's resolution, and I think the example is used on Sunday too. It's like, well, I'm doing something for a week. Oh, I don't see abs.
Yeah.
I'm doing something, I haven't lost any weight.
Yep.
Because the expectation level is I need it now, and if I don't see results, I'm going to give up. But we live
in a society of right now.
Like and I always bring this back to weight because I don't know if anybody knows this, but I've been anywhere from 175 pounds to 285 pounds, which is it's 110.
That's a big fluctuation,
spread, right? And so
that's like carrying a billy with you.
I know what it's like to lose weight.
Yeah.
And it's slow.
Yeah.
The process is slow. And sometimes in life, but all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you're like, wow, it happened overnight. And it's not true. It didn't happen overnight. It happened slowly over time.
Yeah.
And it's that gradual, that 1%. This week, and use the example of, improving a studio setup that for the podcast where we're doing this week. And the next time, you have some guests and that's our example, but everyone else's example can be similar in whatever avenue it is in life.
I actually learned a new editing technique this week because I said, I'm like, I need to learn a new editing technique because in my mind, I was saying, this is going to be hard.
Right.
This is going to be tough. And then I'm like, no. I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to learn how to edit all 3 cameras. I'm going to learn how to match up the audio, and it's going to be easy.
Right.
Now we'll see. I truly do think it's going to be something that I'm going to be able to do.
Right.
But it's going to take work.
Yeah. For me, that's something I've had to challenge myself because sometimes I can say it's something I don't know, it's unknown, I don't know how to do it, so I'm not going to try because I don't have confidence level in that area.
Yeah.
Where I'm just going to struggle at it, and I try to get out of my comfort zone, but for me, it sometimes seems like that transition or that improvement just takes so much time. I get frustrated. So I try to as best I can, and sometimes it's gradual. It's very slow, and it can be frustrating, which I'm sure is something that a lot of people deal with.
Yeah,
but I'm trying.
So one of the things that that Zach is doing this week or this year, I guess, he's going to do 52 of them. He's doing declarations.
Yeah.
And now you can do this as a Christian or a non-Christian.
Yeah.
You can do this in your life just in general. He's got 52 declarations that he's putting out. And the reason he's not doing a daily one is because he wants you to repeat this every day for a week so that you're planting it in your brain, right? So you can make the declaration something like, I am going to lose weight today. Or, thank you for making me lose weight today. Thank you for giving me the strength to work out. Thank you for this.
There's a preacher, and I don't remember who it is, but he told the story of somebody that said he was a chain smoker, and he just loves cigarettes. And he just like, how do I get out of this habit of, because it's I'm wrecking my life. It's my lungs. I need to get off of it. And he said, every day, he said, I hate cigarettes. They're disgusting. And I don't want to have another cigarette. And he never changed anything else, but every day he said
planted that in his brain.
And all of a sudden and it didn't happen automatically, but 3 weeks later, all of a sudden he's like, it literally came true where that cigarette was disgusting. He didn't want to have any anymore, and he just got rid of it. And I don't remember who said the story. I'll find it, but that was the story.
Yeah.
And that's what it reminds me of when you say that.
So it's something that he's doing for this year. I think that all of us can really learn from that, whether it is just planting yourself at being a better person or losing weight or taking showers. Showers are good. I love showers, is what Tim says every morning.
Well, I don't have to
and then he waits until the evening to have one.
I don't have one in the morning. It's usually later on, and that's because half the time because I'm working at the night shift too. So,
and also you want to shower after you've worked because you work a labor job, whereas I work an office job. Right. So we have two different styles of jobs. So I like to smell good when I'm at the office. You like to smell good when you're at home. Yeah. Right. Am I correct?
Once a day to smell good is fine.
Once a day doesn't matter where it is, as long as it's for a half an hour. Anyway, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I mean, there's no easy answers to it, and it's just a topic that interests me that kind of connects to some other ones. And if people have thoughts about that topic that they want to share with us,
leave them in the comments.
Yeah, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I think that if there's something that you're declaring in your life right now. It would be great if you commented on the video and tell us what you're declaring. Yeah. And we will help and also comment on your comment and we will tell you that you will also achieve that. We're not as powerful individually as we are as a collective. Yeah. And I think as a collective, we could be way more powerful. So, encourage your friends, encourage the people around you and help grow them because they're going to help you grow when you need it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think those very, very, very wise words.
Thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show clips. If you want, click the subscribe button right in the middle here, and then there's an episode in front of me and an episode in front of Tim. Click on them. Keep on watching. Keep on watching and share with your friends. Thanks for watching the clip.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.